And here in the top right-hand corner of ESV Cloud Kingdom, we have our red Terran player from the Team FX Open Esports. It is GuMiho. And he has come back and taken a game after SuperNoVa. His opponent, our blue Terran, down here in the bottom left-hand corner, jumped out to a 2-0 lead.
Yep. SuperNoVa wants to win this game, wants to advance in the tournament, wants to go to IPL 4. Can't blame him. He's a very talented Terran player. If he did make it to IPL 4, I could see him going very, very deep in the tournament. He's been playing so great. This DVT series has been just really weird, too. A lot of players having to kind of play on the fly. You know, not a lot of really well planned out builds and pushes executed here. Just because of the action in the early game, both players have been really having to think on their feet this match.
And so many proxy marauders. It's been 3 games in a row. We'll see if we get a 4th now, as this is certainly a map where you can pull it off. The walk distances aren't huge. There's certainly a lot of hidden opportunities for those as well, as you guys can see. All right, so this is your natural. And if you make your way over towards the 3rd, which is actually accessible by 3 different paths, you also have another ramp that's leading directly into the natural itself. So very easy to proxy a barracks here, underneath the low ground here, directly underneath the main, back around the 3rd, and you still have an incredibly close walk distance to your opponent.
Yeah, I really wonder what we're going to see these guys do. It looks like it is gas a little bit quicker here for GuMiho, and meanwhile, pretty normal timing for SuperNoVa, so a little bit difference in the openings, but, you know, overall nothing too crazy. No proxy marauders this time, it looks like. I wonder if we're going to see GuMiho maybe go for Cloak Banshees again. He certainly does enjoy using those in TVT. We see him make them almost every game, it seems like. And SuperNoVa, though, he likes that too, but I think we're probably going to see a Reaper expand out of him this time around.
Yeah, let's see here now, as there is indeed the Tech Lab coming up, especially with the position of the barracks. That Reaper is it's the quickest possible to get into your opponent's base while not proxying it. And let's see here, is GuMiho going to put up his orbital command in just a second, but we'll have enough for a factory right away.
Yep, that's right. So he's going to go into a very tech-heavy build, whereas GuMiho should get, or SuperNoVa rather, should get a little bit nicer of an economy going early on here.
And let's see if he's going to save up right away for that expansion, or if he's going to queue up more Banshees and try and put on more pressure. As, wait, he has actually added on a second gas now, all right, he is planning on staying on one base for quite a while.
Yeah, so this could be a number of different things. I wonder if we're going to see a second Reaper out of SuperNoVa, maybe even a 3rd here too. He's getting that factory, and will it be a second Reaper? Okay, not quite yet.
See, there's 50-50, and there's a second Reaper.
It is going to be a second Reaper. Okay, so this could be like that Medevac Reaper Hellion build that we do see sometimes. It could just be a second Reaper, too. Might not need to read into that all that much, but both these players sticking on one base maybe a little bit longer this game, it looks like.
Yeah, I don't think that this game's going to be very long, as we do have Heavy Reapers double gas out of SuperNoVa for now, so he is investing heavily in the tech. His opponent is going Banshees, of course, off of one gas, so it'll be of the Uncloaked variety. Oh, but stopping that starport for so long and seeing the Tech Lab is critical.
Yep, that does help. He knows what to expect from his opponent right now, and that Reaper needs to get out of there.
Yeah, and it looks like he will. Second one is coming up, and a 3rd is on the way with a starport being added as well.
Yep, that's right. So it looks like this probably will be the Hellion Reaper Medevac build. Oh, look at that. Reaper's chasing a Hellion. That's kind of something that you don't see every day, but it makes sense because Reapers can take Hellions head on and kill them as well.
Yeah.
So it's very important right now that SuperNoVa keeps every single one of his Reapers alive. Every Reaper he loses is a huge blow to this push that he's planning on doing. So, yeah, we saw him pull away right there. He cannot lose Reapers right now. He needs to keep those alive.
All right, well, lots of Reapers, lots of Hellions making their way out. One Reaper does go down, but now we have a Hellion out there as well. SCV getting in on the action, trying to steal some kills. Doesn't manage to get any, though, unfortunately. It requires perfect control to kite against those Reapers with a Hellion as well, because both units are so fast.
Yep, Space Shark is just impressed. Oh, no, a little bit of miscontrol from SuperNoVa, letting some units die here. And that is actually going to pretty much be the end of his push, honestly. Yeah, we can see him sending the Hellion back. He lost pretty much everything that he wanted to use for that early aggression. Looks like there's a Banshee out for GuMiho, but it's not really doing a whole lot. But
no.
Yeah, you know what? The build SuperNoVa was doing, that little opening push, you just really cannot lose those units if you want to get in there and do damage with it. So he's going to have to be content with what he's got.
Marines trundling their way out now for GuMiho in a nice little line. We'll see what units get added to that here in just a bit, as he is putting up a reactor, on his factory as well, continuing to produce units out of that starport.
Yeah, and he's going to need a Viking or two against that Cloak Banshee follow-up that SuperNoVa is going to do.
Yeah.
Both these players expanding as well, so could end up still seeing a little bit of a longer game here. Both players are going to be at about the same level when it comes to economy.
So SuperNoVa's got a couple of units behind the supply depot up here at the top, and does have a Banshee and a Viking himself. Do we have any Vikings out for SuperNoVa? We do. I'm not sure where it's at. It's actually sitting along the back, so this Banshee's going to be able to get a couple of shots in. Oh, here we go. Air fight, and the Marines are actually going after the Viking very smartly, so that his opponent has complete air control.
Yep. And GuMiho trying to do as much damage with that Banshee as he can, and he does a little bit. Can't break up the front either. Looks like SuperNoVa will defend this.
Picks off a few units there, but we are starting to stabilize for now. We do have Blue Flame being researched for SuperNoVa as well, so it looks like he's going to move back into Mech. Indeed, there's a second factory.
Yep, and this is a good map for Mech. In fact, this is a really, really good map for Mech. The running lanes kind of at the top between the second and the third are very narrow. You can park siege tanks up there and keep both bases fairly safe with that. So, yeah, I think SuperNoVa has definitely picked a good strategy for this map. GuMiho, though, will he decide to do something similar, or will he decide to go for maybe Marine tank or just straight-up bio here? It's kind of hard to tell. He hasn't put up a lot of extra production buildings quite yet. Just kind of getting his economy going for now. Making
sure that he's not going to die to Cloak Banshees as well, as he does get those missile turrets down. So great placement as well. He's going to have pretty good coverage, and I believe that was just scanned. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so SuperNoVa is aware that there are missile turrets sitting in preparation for this Banshee.
Well, the nice thing with Banshees while you're going Mech is that you don't necessarily need to get in and do damage with them right away. You kind of poke around, do what you can. Try not to die to Vikings,
yes.
And then you can save them to be much more helpful later on. Oh, the Raven there, though.
Yeah.
Banshee get away. Looks like barely on the edge of that vision range from that Raven.
Yep, just going to get away there. So let's see, is that, yeah, Raven, I figured it was 2.25 movement speed, so significantly slower than both Vikings and Banshees. And SuperNoVa pushing out with a fair number of Hellions, but that's an even better number of Hellions that are sitting out there for GuMiho.
Huh, this is really interesting, actually. A second starport going up for GuMiho as well. Oh, no, he is losing some SCVs, though, in his natural. Losing a lot, actually.
Yeah, as he's more worried about the Hellions that are making his way into his opponent's base. But SuperNoVa looks like he's going to clean that up very quickly, up by 25 supply now.
Yep, that's right. So nice bit of damage done by SuperNoVa, and he's going to go into the main.
Oh, wow. Picks off. He had more SCVs there, and will finally have to move away. Makes it away with 2 of those, and has killed 15 workers in the process.
Yeah, SuperNoVa's pulled a nice little supply lead in this game. Nothing huge, but it is something to kind of be proud of if you could see the supplies right now and be like, yeah, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Starting to add on some siege tanks and Vikings as well. GuMiho is going to try to keep up in the air by having 2 starports himself. But here's the thing, is that with that lack of gatherers, he's going to not be able to produce a whole lot besides just those air units. So SuperNoVa is actually in a pretty good spot here, but I think as usual it's going to come down to a battle over those third bases a little bit later in the game.
Yeah, let's see here. So supply rocketing up, sitting around 87 now, and continuing to increase, of course, on expensive but very, very strong units. What is the air war at? It looks like GuMiho has a 4-3 advantage in terms of Vikings. Both players have a Raven right now, and both players producing Vikings 2 at a time for now, as GuMiho continuing to add to his Banshee count.
Yep, that's right. So SuperNoVa's going to need to be very careful about how he decides to engage here, because GuMiho is prepared for now. Putting up a little wall here to kind of become a little bit more Hellion-proof. Both of these guys playing with a very interesting strategy here. SuperNoVa, too, going for largely air and just Hellion at these very initial stages. You know, he's adding on more tanks now, but for the moment, he's just got that very mobile little group of mech units flying around the map right now.
And once again, GuMiho is, he's actually almost caught up in workers, by the way. Just wanted to kind of put that out there. But it's going to be difficult for him to take an army head on. We'll see here how much damage SuperNoVa can do. He's going to roll his way through the front. Also has that Banshee sitting overhead as well. So he will be able to start picking off a couple of units. Oh, and the Viking count for GuMiho getting decimated. Back at home, he's forced to retreat with all of his air units.
Wow, yeah, this is actually another nice little move by SuperNoVa, but he needs to be careful. He doesn't want to lose all these units. There goes the point defense drone, but will it be enough?
It looks like it is. GuMiho is going to have enough to start pushing back these air units, and with the 2 Banshees in the air, he will have enough to stop this attack. And to be honest, SuperNoVa hasn't done that much damage. He's trying to get through with a few Hellions, but he's actually losing those pretty quickly.
Yeah, you know, it looks like SuperNoVa losing a little bit of traction here. A lot of those Hellions very badly damaged. And now GuMiho can potentially go on the offensive a little bit with these units. I think it's a bit risky to go for something like this. He might want to just turn around after he finishes off this tank, but he might just decide to do a little bit of scouting here.
Well, let's see. SuperNoVa does have enough for some scans, so Cloak is going to be good. Not the most effective thing in the world. GuMiho's going to need a Cloak basically right now, though. All right, loses one of those for free, and the second one goes down as well. GuMiho picking off a couple of Vikings, yes, and it looks like he is going to win that air war, but still surprised he was so cavalier with those Banshees.
Yeah, no kidding. Didn't really get any damage done with that. SuperNoVa still with a little bit of a supply lead. He's taken less economic damage overall from his opponent. And a little drop here, not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, but that's been 35 workers killed this entire game for SuperNoVa, and that does account for most of the difference in supply at the moment. Armies are basically equivalent, although, of course, GuMiho, it's all in the air.
Yeah, pretty much. So that makes it pretty easy for some Hellions to come out and do some damage. Looks like he's going to do a little bit of repairing initially, and I feel like SuperNoVa needs to kind of play this next little bit of the game a little bit more passively. He's been able to go in and do some early damage. He should be happy with that. And just kind of content to see about taking that third and macroing now at this point. Hitting that 150 supply marker, maybe getting some upgrades going too.
Hellion goes down in the middle of the map. A couple more Hellions were thinking about running the Gauntlet as well. Think better of it. Decide that their future is worth it.
Yeah, not a good idea at this point to try to run in and do damage. He's done enough.
Let's see here now as SuperNoVa trying to track down that Banshee, and it looks like he will. There's Cloak, and it's going to force a scan out. The Banshee does go down, but forces a scan.
Banshee also sees that third base for SuperNoVa, though, very importantly, so GuMiho kind of knows the timetable that he has right now. He's just started his third command center, so it's going to be a little bit later than his opponents, I believe.
Yeah, actually, no, that was his fourth.
Okay, that's actually his fourth. Okay, he just hasn't moved out his third quite yet. Yeah.
Very aggressive, though, economically aggressive, I should say, as he is going to, looks like, commit over to completely Mech. He's going to be on 4 factories here in just a second on 3 bases.
So Mech versus Mech, but it's kind of a tall order to try to catch up in Mech, you know, in Mech versus Mech when you've already lost, taken some losses earlier in the game. So
good juke there by GuMiho as he moves back home with that Banshee to keep it alive.
And here comes another Banshee for GuMiho, but will be able to do anything.
He just keeps going ahead with these, despite the fact that they've largely been found out. This one going to take some damage as well. Picks off a Marine, and 2 actually gets a third SCV there at the end, but not that much damage done.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Usually you need to kill about maybe like 6 or 7 SCVs, probably a few more to really make every Banshee worth it. And GuMiho not really able to do that with that one.
Well, he is pinning SuperNoVa back at home at the very least, and that's allowing him to start macroing a little bit and trying to find his way back into the game that way, as he does indeed have another orbital command just about to finish up.
Oh, SuperNoVa does not want to go into this third base. There's tanks right there.
Yeah, loses a couple of Hellions right away. No real damage done there.
Yeah. Now, SuperNoVa, he is still a little bit ahead. All he needs to do now is defend and kind of capitalize on that lead. In fact, we started to see him push out a little bit here on the map. He's getting close to that 150 supply marker. I feel like this may be just a little bit premature, although it does time out quite nicely with his +1 weapons for his vehicles. So this could work. We'll have to see. You know, though, I've got to say, he's still slightly in the advantage, but I feel like this entire game he's just been letting that advantage slip slowly but surely as it goes along. GuMiho was down like 45 supply to 70 at one point. Well, this is a great spot here for SuperNoVa. Will he keep the air advantage, though? Oh, he doesn't manage to focus down the Raven. No, and the point defense drone. Okay, there it is. It was hiding. Yeah, 2 point defense drones were out, and looks like they're going to absorb a few of the shots at the very least. Isn't still enough to win the air war, though. GuMiho forcing these back, and yes, he is going to kill the last of the Vikings. Yep. Sounds like a Daniel Day-Lewis movie. killing the Vikings.
Last of the Vikings.
Last of the Vikings, all right.
All right. Let's see here, though. A few units being sent out to repair. Unfortunately, just becoming a meat shield. The Siege Tank cleaned those up. At the same time,
no.
Blue Flame Hellion counterattack, killing a lot of SCVs down in the bottom left-hand corner.
Wow, SuperNoVa taking a supply lead for the first time in this game as well. Or GuMiho, rather, taking that supply lead. You know, that push out by SuperNoVa, I mentioned, I thought it was a little bit too premature. It's, you know, GuMiho just had too good of a defensive spot and still maintained that little air advantage, too, because of the Ravens. So SuperNoVa kind of rolling the dice there, and unfortunately it came up on a number he did not want to see. What number that is kind of depends on the dice game that he was playing. One can only guess.
I guess so.
If it's Yahtzee, it's like getting 4 6s and like a 1.
Oh, worst feeling in the world.
Yep.
You've got to write down that chance every time. Oh. All right, well, Hellions are rolling up now, and we were talking about that good position for SuperNoVa before, and it looks like GuMiho may be getting himself into that right now, and he is going to win the air war once again. So he does have coverage of the air, but the Thors are pushing those units back slowly but surely. This is giving GuMiho actually enough time to start shooting down these Thors. Actually, the last Thor is about to die. SuperNoVa all of a sudden down 75 supply to 127. GuMiho coming back in spectacular fashion in this game.
Yeah, you know, moving those Thors up there with the siege tanks just really did not go well for SuperNoVa. He kind of just slowly ambled up as he took damage after damage from those siege tanks.
Yeah.
And I think that may just be enough for GuMiho to take this game here. It's not looking good for SuperNoVa.
Unbelievable. Looks like GuMiho is going to find a way to force this to game number 5.
Yeah.
Once again, a crazy, unconventional game, a weird way to arrive at this conclusion, but a fun TBT nevertheless.
Well, it comes down to SuperNoVa just having a lead and then kind of blowing it a little bit. You know, he picked a really bad spot to engage at that third base and didn't really micro his ground units while the air fight was going on either, so that was kind of an easy win at the fight for GuMiho. And it looks like he's going to be able to continue to improve this lead.
Yeah, let's see here. As SuperNoVa, he has 1 Viking, 2 Hellions, 8 tanks, and that's it. GuMiho has Thors in there. He's got a ton of Hellions. He's got a bunch of tanks. He has significant air advantage, and looks like he's thinking about pushing.
Yep, certainly might be, and you know, he's in a great position to do that. He's just got way more stuff than SuperNoVa right now. He's got +1 weapons. You know, he's going to have +2 a little bit earlier as well. I think, you know, I don't even think he needs to be terribly careful about this. He's got enough of a lead that he might just be able to move right up and finish his opponent off.
Very possible. I was seeing why he paused, checking for any drops or anything. Don't see anything, so looks like he's just going to start trying to roll his way to victory. SuperNoVa's sitting with those tanks on the high ground in a pretty good spot, but GuMiho,
go for it.
Yeah, very smart decision there. He's just going to push up. He is in a tiny little choke point, so he has to watch out from the splash damage at the back, but it looks like he is starting to whittle away the tank number, sieges up himself, and a lot of tanks just disappear.
Yeah, those tanks just kind of evaporated here, and the supply lead continues to increase for FXO GuMiho.
Yeah. And 1 Hellion trying to do what he can to make his way back into this. The Hellion's doing a nice thing and getting underneath the siege tanks, as a matter of fact, caused one of the siege tanks to kill itself, and or kill another one of his fellow siege tanks, I should say.
Yep. And so, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot that SuperNoVa can do at this point. I mean, he does have the third base still mining here. Whoa, SCV's taking out a Hellion.
13 kill Hellion, nonetheless. Yep. Still, look at that. I mean, if you just came into this and you saw, wow, SuperNoVa's killed 58 workers this game, and he's down by 80 supply.
Oh, no. Have you ever seen a Thor get killed by SCVs before?
No.
I have not either.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think this is gonna be the first.
Yeah, GuMiho attacking on 2 fronts right now. You know, again, it looks so sloppy what he's doing, but he's just got so much stuff. It doesn't even matter anymore. He's got his 4th base going. His economy is looking great. He's 100 supply ahead, basically.
Yeah, and it looks like SuperNoVa trying to land in some Vikings there, and even landed, it doesn't matter. GuMiho still has enough to kind of push up through the front. And there it is, GG. So GuMiho has taken the 4th game as well and pushed this to a 5th game of this best of 5.